Nation of Fit and 10, it is day 10, and I'm in Florida right now, and I do not have my gear to set up my camera properly because my luggage has still not arrived. So, pain in the ass, absolute pain in the ass. I only have one pair of clothes, well, sort of, basically one pair of clothes. So every time I go to the gym, I gotta come home, wash those clothes, and then dry them, and then I got the pair of clothes. Like I guess I'm gonna have to go buy them. It's been almost 24 hours, and the luggage is still lost. Anyways, lesson to me: I am never checking in luggage. Anything that's of absolute importance, I'm not checking in. Anyways, enough about me. I hope you guys are doing well. And I'm going to get right into some questions. But first, I just want to say one thing. I've only received 9 feedbacks. I know not everybody's watching these videos because I can see the views, like you can as well. So I don't know what to say. I'm going to put a note out in Slack. And, I'm just... Yeah, it's not a good sign, okay? It's not a good sign. For those of you watching the videos and giving me your feedback, obviously that's a good thing. The rest of you guys got to get on top of this, okay? Like seriously, it's part of your accountability, and it really makes a difference. Like I said, a lot of you, I just have no clue what's going on. So, all right, let's get into some questions here. So, some really great questions from this person. Tips on how to convert macros into weight. For example, MyFitnessPal has several options such as cups, grams, or ounces. What is the best way to convert? Using grams, yes. Okay, so I believe this person, and I already kind of talked about this, but this is a great question, and this is really something I should have delved into a little bit deeper in the beginning. So just be aware that when you are measuring out your food, different foods are going to have different densities or amounts of macros per unit of weight. Okay, so I did already talk about this, I think yesterday or maybe the day before, but I'm going to touch upon it again. I'm going to keep going through this because it is not necessarily the easiest topic for people to wrap their head around. So everything's got a different density. So you might have, let's say, an ounce of banana, which is 28.3 grams, and you're going to have what's in an ounce of banana? I gotta look it up, but it's around 8 grams of carbs. Okay, and then you might have an ounce of oatmeal, and that's going to be 18 grams of carbs. Okay, or sorry, I'm talking net carbs. It's got 20 grams of carbs. Okay, so different foods have different densities. Another example would be if you have an ounce of berries. Okay, you're going to get a couple grams of carbs. Okay, so out of 28 grams, 28.3 grams of berries, you're going to get a couple grams of carbs. Okay, so it depends on the food. Different foods have different densities, because the food itself is not just made up of that macro. If it was, then you would just measure out, 28 grams of berries and you get 28 grams of carbs, right? But there's other stuff in there, right? There's water, there's micronutrients, but mainly what makes up the weight of everything is the water that's in it. Okay, just grab my mouse here. Is the water. So just be aware of that, okay? Different foods have different densities. Okay, let's do one with protein here. If you look at the density of, let's say, steak, okay, and a lean steak. Okay, a lean steak is going to be about, per ounces raw, is going to be about 8 grams, possibly higher. Again, depending how lean it is, maybe 9 grams of protein per ounce raw. If you're looking at something like a fattier, so let's go with like a lot of ground beefs, those are typically fatter, a lot of those per ounce are going to be around that 5 to 6 grams per ounce. Okay, because there's just, there's more fat in that one. So it's just not as, in terms of proportion or ratio, out of that 28 grams, we have more fat. So we're going to get less protein. Okay, and of course, again, what makes up the most of that? It's a meat, it's a tissue, it's mainly water, right? So, and you'll know this, right? If you just keep cooking a meat, just keep cooking it, it's just going to get lighter and lighter and lighter, right? Because you're just drawing water out of it. Okay, let's go through another one here. If we look at an oil, for instance, an oil is actually 100% fat, okay? Most oils are. So if we look at like olive oil, if you take 14 grams of olive oil, you're getting 14 grams of fat because it's 100% fat. But if we do nuts, and I don't typically eat nuts, but let's use, let's say a nut butter, okay? If you use like, let's say almond butter, okay? And you measure out 15 grams, okay? Or let's just stick with an ounce, okay? 28 grams. About half of that, okay, you're gonna get about half of it as fat, 14 grams. So the other, 14 grams is gonna be, some protein, because there's some protein in nuts, and a little bit of carbohydrates as well. And then of course, there's gonna be some water and micronutrients and stuff like that, okay? So hopefully that makes sense to you. If it doesn't, please let me know, okay? This, again, I'm not here to judge you. I'm just here to help you, all right? So, and again, I may not be explaining everything 100%. Or I may not, it makes sense to me because I know it, but it may not make sense to you the way I'm explaining it. So just let me know, okay? Okay, so what is the best way to convert using grams? Yes, so I'm not quite sure what you mean by this question, but you can use any kind of measuring, any kind of unit of measure. It's weird. There's actually typical food like meats. I always weigh in ounces, but like oatmeal, I always weigh in grams. So again, like if we're looking at like a pound, right? A pound is 16 ounces, or 454 grams. So it's just converting from one type of unit to another type of unit. I like grams typically though because they're a smaller unit, so it's a little more accurate, right? So whatever you choose, okay? Whatever you want to choose, whatever unit, it's like, do you weigh yourself? Should I weigh myself in pounds, or should I weigh myself in kilograms? Well, it doesn't really matter. It's what means more to you. They're both going to result in the same thing. It's obviously going to be a different number, right? A kilo is 2.205 pounds. Okay, so it just depends on what kind of system you're used to. Okay, what feels more comfortable to you. Okay, 8.5 minutes. Wow. Let's get the message of the day. Oh man, I don't have message of the day up. Really? I thought I did this. All right. Okay, just give me 1 sec here. Okay. Message of the day. And message of the day is habits over motivation and discipline. Habits over motivation and discipline, right? Motivation is never going to be 100%. It just, or even 10%, right? There are just times where you're going to feel like I want to do this, and times that you just like, I don't feel like doing this. But so you can't live off of motivation. You have to make things habitual. You have to put things in your calendar, and you just have to abide by them. It's just execution. I'm not saying it's easy. I'm not saying you're always going to want to do it. But the more you do it, the easier it will become, okay? People tend to ask me, or I've been asked many times, how do you stay motivated? Okay, maybe I'm not the best example of this, but because, I I am driven by, I mean, it's the way I'm wired, obviously, but I'm also driven by the fact that I think I told you guys a couple of days ago that, you know, I'm in love with the way that I feel, right? But anyways, I don't want to talk about me here. Just think of these as things that you have to execute, make them habits. They will become easier. Like every other thing that you do in your life that you do regularly. You just, like, you don't always want to do these certain things like go to work, etc., but you know what the consequences will be if you don't, right? All right, so there's consequences to everything, good or bad. All right, so habits over motivation, you know, or discipline, right? I mean, what does that even mean, discipline? Again, you know, let's just think of this as, you know, do you want to do it or do you not want to do it? Okay, I do want to do it. Okay, so we're going to do it. We're just going to execute, okay? All right, so positive energy, positive vibes, believe in yourself and for the love of God, give some gratitude, and I'll talk to you all very soon. See you guys.